the afternoon of October 17, 2010, Pace University student Danroy DJ Henry played a football game. It was homecoming weekend and his whole family had driven up to watch him play. After the game, around 1:30 a.m., he was in his car with his close friends Brandon Cox and Desmond Hines. They were parked in the fire lane at Finnegan's Grill, waiting for a few friends to come out. A fight broke out outside the bar, and it was then that police officer Aaron Hess tapped on the window asking DJ to move his car. DJ complied. He pulled his car out of the fire lane and began moving towards a parking spot. Suddenly, Officer Hess stepped into the path of DJ's car with his gun drawn. He fired a shot into the car and then mounted himself on the hood, where he fired several more shots through the windshield, hitting DJ in the chest and arm. Hess then removed DJ from the car, stood him up, and handcuffed him. He then laid DJ face down on the pavement where he died. Officer Hess later admitted in court that he could have stepped out of the way, and despite the deposition of another officer labeling Hess as the aggressor, no charges have been filed. He went on to win Officer of the Year.
This is important footage from the New York City protest that police don't want you to see.
Yet again, protesters were peaceful while police were violent.
Police tried to create a riot. You can see them illegally barricading a path to continue and pushing completely non-violent protesters. You can see this cop realizing I caught him on camera. And that's exactly why I'm screaming record, record, record. We need to record the cops and make sure they're held accountable because too much of their violence goes unseen. They wanted to do a mass arrest. You can see it with the white chain. Protesters remained peaceful and even took out mirrors, forcing cops to look at themselves. Dozens of cops guarded a statue of famous colonizer and murderer Christopher Columbus. This cop refused to wear a mask and laughed at protesters to ask him to wear one. Police don't want you to see incarcerated people from the Manhattan Detention Center joining in the protest. We are fighting to protect all Black bodies. Don't let anyone on this app fool you. This is no trend. Keep getting involved. The revolution is happening now.
This is America. Don't got you slipping up. Look how I'm living up. Police be tripping.
Stop scrolling because you're going to want to listen to the story time. So there was this one girl that I used to go to high school with. Mind you, I've not talked to this girl in months. I stopped going to that school in the middle of junior year and I switched to online. This girl always had some type of problem with me and I'm not sure exactly what it was, but she would constantly run her mouth and I would always have issues with her. So I just got word that she was running her mouth again, telling people how badly she wanted to beat me up and this and that. So me being the type of person that I am, obviously I pulled up, and as soon as she opened the door, I looked at her and I said, Elijah McClain say his name was a 23-year-old African-American man who got killed by white police officers. This happened in 2019, a year ago. Elijah was a sweet man and never caused anyone harm. He used to play violin for kittens so they could fall asleep. One day he was walking home from a convenience store, wearing a ski mask, not causing harm to anyone. They see a black man minding his business and they think it's suspicious. He was unarmed, yet the police tackled him and injected him with ketamine, which can be very dangerous if taken at too high of a dosage. The whole entire time the police officers were restraining him, he was telling them how much he loved them, how he was just different, how he doesn't kill flies. Yet this innocent man died and never got his justice. Copy link and share this video.
Do y'all mind if I go off for a quick sec? Cool, thanks. Just to, respond to all the burning down things isn't the way to get what you want. First of all, y'all didn't want to listen to what we had to say peacefully. So apparently violence is the only way to get your attention. Also, to respond to all the, how is burning down our city and our country gonna help anything? First of all, your country, because last time I checked, weren't the Native Americans here? And then you guys came and you killed and then stole their land, and then you brought in blacks, Latino, and Asians to do the work for, because slavery. Sis, this ain't your land. This is not your country. You stole this land from the Native Americans and then brought in other minorities to do the work for you to build this country because you're too lazy to do your own goddamn work. So this bitch will burn to the ground if we see fit. Okay? And don't forget, we're protesting for innocent black lives being lost. Buildings can be rebuilt. Lives cannot.
This video on your For You page or your following page, please drop a like and share as many times as you can because this needs to get out. I used to go to a school called Little Miami High School that's located in Morrow, Ohio until I switched to online due to all the racism that went on. So much racism went on and none of the principals ever did anything. Let me give you some examples. I was friends with one of the few black girls that went to that school who got threatened by one of the white students saying that they were going to lynch her on their front porch. Administration did nothing. They always slide things that deal with racism under the rug. I even got on video one of the white kids calling me the N-word with a hard R and I brought it to the principal's office. When the principal listened to it, he told me that he didn't hear it. I listened to the video a countless number of times myself. I showed all of my friends and my family. They all said that they heard it. My oldest brother is now 25 years old. He was experiencing the same racism that I went through. My little brother is 10 years old. He's experiencing that type of racism in 5th grade. Administration continues to let these things slide and that's why these kids are so comfortable with saying racist things. You've probably seen this girl on your timeline recently and the racist things that she was saying about George Floyd's death. She went to Little Miami. And yet another white student called black people animals on their spam account. Please share, this needs to get out.
Extremely important, so please keep watching. Please do whatever you can to share this message because everybody needs to hear this that lives in the United States. Today in Donald Trump's speech, he threatened to completely militarize the country if governors do not comply to bringing the National Guard into their state. If worse comes to worse, this would literally be him declaring martial law. If you don't know what martial law is, put on your seatbelts. Although this has not happened yet, martial law is when the president can literally take civil rights away from the people of the United States. It would also mean that the military is coming into all cities to control the people. It also means that every single branch of the government no longer has control of the people, only the president does. This would be directly impacting me, you, anybody on the right. Every single person in the United States would be drastically affected by this. Martial law would literally take away our right to free speech, which is exactly what conservatives and people on the left fight for every single day. If you are conservative and you are watching this and being completely okay with this, I need to ask you a question. Are you siding with Trump because it fits your moral compass? Or are you siding with him because he's a Republican? This no longer is about right and left or who you support. This is about fighting for the common good of the population of the United States. Do not support Donald Trump.
Most disrespected, unprotected, neglected person in America is the black woman. Black women are the most hated and most feared because we are the most powerful. Say her name, Sandra Bland. How did switching lanes with no single turning to me hating myself? A Tatiana Jefferson. I died in my own home in front of my nephew. We were just playing video games. Pamela Turner. I was tased, but I guess that wasn't enough. All I wanted was to go home. Kareem Gaines that violated my 4th Amendment rights and took away the eyes I was given to the world. Tanisha Anderson, mental illness took over. My mama called for help, but instead she watched me get slammed to the ground with a knee in my back until I couldn't breathe. Breonna Taylor, say my name. I had big dreams, but police killed me after storming in my home and hunt for a suspect already in custody. Black women deserve the same energy as black men when they're being killed by the police. Say her name.
If you're a part of the LGBT community, you should understand the Black Lives Matter movement, and if you are a person of color, you have no right to be homophobic, because it doesn't make sense. You should know more than anyone what it's like to be treated differently based on something that you cannot control. Yes, racism and oppression has been a lot more prevalent in this country towards people of color than that of the gays, but no matter how extreme the scenario is, you should understand what they're talking about. Same with the LGBT community. You have no right to be racist. You were hiding, and came out. Think about how different your life would be if you were born with rainbow skin. So, if you are either of the two, you are on the same boat. If you are neither of the two, thank you for listening.
Look, you can't argue with the facts, okay? Black people just commit more violent crime. Check the FBI statistics. I bet. So let's see what we got here. Who commits the most rapes? White people. How about aggravated assault? White people. Motor vehicle theft? White people. Arson? No, still white people. Okay, burglary. That's got to be more it's white people. Larceny, theft, now that is obviously white people. Vandalism. Surely vandalism is white people. In fact, it looks like the only thing here that black people lead in is robbery and murder. Aha, you say. Well, murder, there you go. Murder's the most violent crime of all, right? Black people are more murderers. Well, these stats are just based on arrest. They don't take into account people who are later exonerated, or even take into account that some people commit more than one crime. So it's a fallacy to assume that each and every one of these crimes represents a different black person who did them. But fine, let's play it that way. In 2017, there were a little over 9,400 murders, a little over half of which were black people. So if you divide number of murderers by total number of black people, it's less than 1% of the black population.